selection. That's what makes it such a special place.
This is your first PT session and you're struggling now.
Articulate the instruction.
From here you'll see activities that are designed to create fatigue, that are designed to put people out of their comfort zone. It's probably the key point. And what that's trying to do is trying to reduce the person down to their, I guess, basic personality, and it becomes very clear whether someone's going to be able to do this job later on down the track when it's really counting.
You'll be surprised the amount of people that
and no matter how hard the men try, it will never be good enough.
That was a poor demonstration. So let's do it again. Push-up position. Ready?
Now this one, if you have injuries or if you came to selection with injuries, they're going to start to show themselves. I know in my class alone, there were a lot of guys that had like a lot of shoulder injuries, lower back injuries, ankle injuries. And just from this evolution alone, this is just the beginning of selection. And guys were dropping like flies because the shoulder aggravated injury reoccurred or the lower back started acting up again. Selection is going to bring out all those flaws. That's why I tell guys now, before you go, make sure that whatever injury you've had is good to go. And the only way you're going to find that out is by pushing yourself past your limits before you get to selection.
By day 2, the candidates' bodies have been softened up. The regiment now begins to work on their minds. Interviews conducted by serving and veteran SAS soldiers probe for signs of mental weakness.
Relax.
They begin.
So the first week of our selection process is meant to, again, start wearing down on that body, right? Because I always tell guys, you can go to selection in the best shape of your life. It doesn't matter. You're going to get to a point, typically for us, it's by the end of week 2, we're all on the same playing field. We're all on level playing field by the time we hit team week, right? Like we don't have anything left in the tank. Now we have to dig deep. Now we got to show how much heart we have to be able to complete the course. Same concept here.
Begin with candidate 53, a physical instructor with the military.
So you like being PDI?
I do enjoy it too, yes.
So you like being basically in charge of people?
I wouldn't say that too. I just like the lifestyle and the opportunity that's provided me.
All the PT gear, the lycra, eh?
Occasionally too.
All the nice PT shoes and all that.
I guess a lot of people see PDIs as lobsters. Body full of muscle, head full of shit. You know, because they're the guys wearing the tight shorts and the tight shirts and stuff, walking around the base where everyone else has to wear cams and that. They do come across or get perceived as posers or whatever else, but that's just whatever.
I've seen PDIs like you come and go before. It's all too hard. Living in the field, bit of rain like this, cold, hungry. You might be ripped and a little bit toned and past a few of your PT sessions now. You don't get that tucker and that fuel in you. What's going to happen to that little body you got? It's going to shrink. You're not going to be able to do what you need to do.
So now they're attacking their minds, right? They're placing doubt. And the guys that are weak-minded, this tactic is going to work, right? But if you've put in the time to not only get your body right, but also your mind right, then all this instructors are doing is just talking. You're not going to let that impact you. You're not going to let that into your bubble. You're going to answer them in a polite manner. You're not going to be confrontational. You're going to take the feedback and you're going to keep moving because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the guy that's not only physically fit, but that's also mentally tough. And if these guys' words are enough to throw you off your square, then they don't have any need for you. They don't want you there because you're easily influenced and easily bothered.
Nah, wasn't me at all. They have a perception of who they think I am, and obviously they're trying to either solidify that in their own minds or me prove them wrong. I'm not going to let anyone intimidate or put me down for having a crack anyway, so they can think what they want.
Evening, sir.
Candidate 130's confident entrance quickly evaporates as the interviewers assess his personal essay.
What you've written here seems to me as a whole heap of shit.
It doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, so back to that essay, some guys took it seriously and others took it as a joke. Not knowing that, hey, this was going to come back to hunt them later. You know, could you imagine an essay being the reason why you don't get selected?
In an attempt to be different, I wrote, it wasn't flippant, it was light-hearted, merely a tale of my life, like Roald Dahl. And when they told me they couldn't stand to read it, I was pretty upset and I was on the back foot from there.
Tell me no bullshit about your life.
Sir, I believe I am who I am due to 9 years boarding school. Taught me the value of comradeship, friendship, loyalty, strength, old school principles. That's me, sir, through and through.
I still don't know anything about you. What's your family life like?
Families, they're divorced, sir. They don't really talk to each other, but I am their go-between. My principles come from my mother more so than my father.
What are your principles?
Loyalty above all other things, sir.
That's one principle.
Now, had he taken the time and actually wrote the essay, this would have saved him a lot of headaches, right? Because now he's going to leave that room in his head thinking that, oh, I just caused myself my ability to get selected.
Honour, friendship, sticking by your mates.
Think you do a good job in a small team?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
You don't reckon you've been a little bit arrogant with that?
No, sir.
So how long have you been thinking about doing the selection course?
Quite a few years, sir.
Quite a few years. What, before 05?
Yes, sir.
So it's taking you a long time to bloody sort of...
I had some growing up to do, sir.
Growing up.
The arrogance that is perceived, that had to be controlled.
That was there, was it?
Yes, sir.
Why were you so arrogant?
It's probably a defensive reaction, sir, to the unknown.
What are you afraid of?
Failure.
Failure?
Yes, sir.
What, failure to what? Failure to what?
To live up to my own expectations, sir.
There were so many points.
I feel like all this guy's doing is talking himself into a hole. The more he speaks, the deeper he's digging that hole. Because in special operations, like, we don't do arrogant. Like, we don't like arrogant guys. The nature of the game, or the name of the game, is teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. Can you work within the confinement of a small team to get a task accomplished? Or are you going to be that guy that's always fighting with your teammates that can't get along with anyone? Or are you going to be that guy that brings people together behind enemy line in a small setting and overcome the impossible? That's what we're looking for.
Once I wanted to bring across, but the questions were just, wow, I didn't achieve what I wanted to. I really didn't, and I have to make up for it.
Move the bar quickly. Feet are shoulder width apart. 21, bring your hands closer. It is a tricep extension. Just give up, man. It is easy to give up. It is easy to...
On the third day, a brutal PT session provides the staff with a clearer picture of how the men are travelling.
By day 3, you will see a delineation between the strong members on the course and the people that haven't prepared themselves or probably aren't going to finish the course successfully.
Did you train? You didn't train.
But there is the anomaly. There is just the bloke who's got plenty of ticker and he hangs in to the end. And they're everywhere in the regiment, I think. That's what makes it such a special place.
This is your first PT session and you're struggling now.
And stimulate the instruction.
From here you'll see activities that are designed to create fatigue, that are designed to put people out of their comfort zone. It's probably the key point. And what that's trying to do is trying to reduce the person down to their, I guess, basic personality, and it becomes very clear whether someone's going to be able to do this job later on down the track when it's really counting.
You'll be surprised the amount of people that show up to selection unfit. Can't do pull-ups, can't do push-ups, can't do sit-ups, can't run. You'll be surprised. And the entire reason behind at least SFAS for me the first week was to just weed those guys out so cadres can get back to doing their job of assessing the guys that prepared.
The directing staff are everywhere, constantly looking for candidates that aren't suitable. There is nowhere to hide.
Well, they want to make sure that they're going to get the best. They've all been through it themselves. They know what these people are going through, and they're mindful of what we need as a unit.
If you feel you cannot carry on, then just rest the bar on your chest. You will be assessed by the operators and they will deem you unsuitable for their environment.
Log and rifle PT. We did 3 hours of log PT. And then if you survive that, we ran to another location and we did 3 hours of rifle PT. Up until this point, that's by far the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Was log PT for 3 hours at selection and then rifle PT for 3 hours at selection. Because I was 25 and I was just a physical specimen and I refused to quit. But it was so freaking hard. It was ridiculous. Like every part of my body was aching, but I kept pushing through.
After another day of intense physical and mental pressure, a steady stream of candidates is withdrawing.
Okay, cheers, no worries, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, this.
Now this is very important here because the cadres that I had when I went to selection were very professional, and these guys typically are. Because even, you know, the brief conversation that he just had with this guy, he's not cussing at him. He's not, you know, chewing him out. He's like, yeah, you gave it your all. You did your best. This isn't for you. I understand. There's still that mutual respect there because at the end of the day, there's still a very large number of individuals within other units that will never, ever put a packet in to come test themselves. So there's still a mutual respect there, even though guys are starting to drop out.
So blokes you can see behind me have elected to withdraw and request. So they've handed in the form to the senior instructor, and he's instructed them to come back up here, pack up their gear and just wait till they come and get collected. We kind of change tack at that point. I mean, clearly these guys had the gumption to turn up. They've given their all as hard as they can on the course. So we no longer have to be too straight-faced and stony with them. I, in fact, respect them for having the gumption to come here, have a go at the course, at least push themselves to the hardest of their limits.
Lower.
Once they have been psychologically assessed, they are left to reflect in what is known as Camp Happy.
As you see at the start of the course, soldiers doubt themselves. They got families, not that confident in themselves, and they withdraw from the course very early. It's just something in that little back of their mind just triggers them and say, look, this is not for me.
I couldn't have asked for a better preparation, you know, done everything to the letter and more. I've basically been training for about 18 months. I've got 3 daughters under 5 years old. I just basically just reached the point where I didn't think it was fair on them.
And I've heard this so many times, like it blows my mind. And I tell people the same thing. Well, before you go, think about those things. Before you go to selection, put yourself on the line and then quit. Like, think everything through before you decide to go, because selection is not the place to have a come to Jesus moment, right? Like, I know way too many guys that's gone down this exact path that this guy's talking about. But selection will do that to you. That's why it's there. I'm sure if things were easy for this guy and he wasn't being challenged, he would not have quit, right? But selection is just a small taste of more to come.
I think I spent so much time trying to convince my wife that she could cope with it. I never actually convinced myself that I could. Maybe I fell in love with the dream and not the actual reality.
Those willing to dream on will soon face the most brutal test so far. It's just 4 days into the gruelling 3-week SAS selection course. 130 hopeful candidates have been quickly reduced to less than 90. The remaining men now face a task designed to reduce their ranks even further, the 20-kilometre pack march. Candidate 42 relays the rules to the men.
Right, listen up. After breakfast, we'll clean up quickly and get set up for the 20 clicker. The weights for the 20 clicker are 20 kilos in your pack, 8 kilos in your webbing. Any questions? Fall out.
So now that guy's the equivalent of a class leader. Like every selection class has one, like he relays information to the dudes, right? So he just gave them clear instructions. This is the amount of weight that you need to have. Go execute. How much money do you guys want to bet somebody's going to mess that up? Because there's always going to be someone trying to cut corners. What they don't know is cadre's probably going to weigh the packs along the route. I guarantee you that's going to be a thing. And I haven't seen this before, right? But every selection process is typically the same. And there's always those guys everywhere.
A lot of guys are concerned about this is another pass-fail activity. 20 kilometres in 3 hours 15 maximum time. So you either get under time, you might get another bite at the cherry, but even then you're even more fatigued later on. So it's pretty much either do it this morning or go home.
That's not something you want to do twice.
March is the equivalent of a half marathon with a bag of bricks on your back. Only those prepared to push through the pain barrier will succeed.
There's a purpose to the 20 kilometre. This is a purpose with all the runs, and that might be a mission objective that while we might use aircraft, watercraft or vehicles to insert our people, they might not be able to get right to the target. You might have to walk in. So mission planners have to know that these guys can actually walk 20 kilometres to a target, do their mission, and they might have to walk 20 kilometres out. So it has a mission objective as well as the fatigue factor for the course.
So everything we do in selection, there's a reason for it. And the 20K is no different.
The men have to maintain their fluid intake, but also keep their water bottles filled so they don't drop under the required pack weight. And that weight can be too much to bear.
Yeah, what happened?
Lower back.
Your lower back.
Get any pain?
A few will make it easily.
That was 44 minutes.
Most will just get home in time, like 109.
About 3 hours and 7 minutes ago we started, and I've been in the hurt locker since then. Didn't want to have to do that again. Wouldn't have worked out well. It's about all I got. I feel like I'm going to faint, to be honest.
3 hours, 34 minutes.
Many of the men are finishing well outside the time and will be forced to retest. Amongst them is 81, one of the youngest candidates, only 22 years old.
3 hours, 36 minutes.
Something not lost on the course selection assessors.
Why didn't you pass it?
I'm not sure, sir.
That 20 clicker is easy. You're going to be climbing up the sides of some features in the coming week that high that you'll probably sit beside God. And you found that 20K is too hard, you didn't achieve that. I'm looking at a 16-year-old boy sitting in front of me.
So,
I'm just concerned that your age and your maturity, you're not right, you're still underdone. I think you lack confidence in yourself.
no, I don't believe that's true, sir.
Prove me wrong, 80.
Sounds like that's accurate, right? And that's the biggest thing that we even see in the U.S. when it comes to our 18 expert population is a lack of confidence, not only when it comes to leadership, but their overall ability.
81. If you pass that 20 clicker, it'll change my opinion of what I've just said, reference your confidence and your ability in yourself.
So,
I think it's just that was just a scare tactic for him to see how I'd react. This course is pretty much designed for you to fail and see how you react about failing. That's pretty much what it is.
Candidate 42 is over 30 minutes outside the cut-off time.
Now, this is somebody that didn't prepare for what they were going to face. Either he's injured or he just didn't prepare at all.
He is so far behind, the staff tell him to throw in the towel with the other non-finishers.
Jump in, let's go. We've got to jump in. I swear when I come here, they don't need, I don't know, take me out here on a fucking stretcher or in a box. So, I'm not quite there yet.
Now, I understand the concept of not quitting, but my biggest issue with this is all you're doing at this point is you're either going to make the staff upset and you're going to piss off cadre, and your chance of getting selected is going to go down the drain. Because at the end of the day, instead of being stubborn here, what you should have done was make sure you were 1,000% prepared to crush this 20-miler, right? Taking your sweet ass time and not pushing yourself on the course and just saying, I'm going to take these little turtle steps and just finish is not good enough, right? The performer's already done. The guys that were prepared, they're already done. All you're doing now is trying to showcase that you're tough when in reality, you didn't put in the time and hours to properly train.
So I just keep going. That's all there is to it, you know. Just got to put one foot in front of the other.
However, 42's determined words are worth nothing when only numbers count.
3 hours and 52. You had 3 hours and 15 to do it, yeah? That's a long way over time.
Yes, it is, sir.
So what I'm looking at is I don't believe you've done the correct training or done enough preparation or hard training to get yourself across the line. That was an individual test. You're under no duress from PDI or staff. That was entirely up to you to perform, and you didn't perform at all. You're looking down the barrel of another 20 kilometres in a day or so.
Sir.
As well as up-and-coming PT sessions that are coming on. So physically, I don't think that you've got what it takes to be here.
The interview, certainly, I guess it's hard not to be intimidated, you know. I mean, like at the end of the day with the 20 clicker, the cut-off's 3:15 and I was outside that, so I can't control whether they choose me. All I can do is come here, give 100% on everything. You know, what can you do? Well, it's like I said to you the other day, the worst thing I could do is stop.
5 days into the course, and over a third of the candidates have now withdrawn. With fatigue and injury taking its toll, the regiment now ratchets up the tempo. The candidates are plunged into a kaleidoscope of intense obstacle courses, combat exercises, and strange role-playing designed to test the body and the mind.
Zenon Clark Jones, take a seat with Mr. Clark Jones. What can I do for you?
I'm from Australia. I'm a journalist, and I'd like to pass through your checkpoint. I believe I need to do that to get to the area I'd like to go to.
If you help me, I help you. There is a ways we can get around this.
Here, candidate 42 must talk his way across a fictitious border while gathering intelligence on the warlord that controls the area.
Okay, number 2, if you haven't got the passport, you pay me a lot of money, and I'm talking lots of zeros, with lots of something in front of the zeros.
Unfortunately, I don't have any money to give you at this stage.
3, or you can help me out, I help you out, and then you can get across the border.